Hello, and welcome to the Werewolf by Night podcast bonus show. I'm your co-host, Matt Howell.
And I'm Jacob Balcom.
Thanks for joining us this week, Patreon supporters. We are going to be talking about a little bit of a fun kind of version of werewolf media. We needed a break. I need a break. And there was something funny from a comedian that I liked. And I figured Jacob might want to check it out because it's ridiculous. And so here we are. We're going to be talking about Adult Swim's Neon Joe, Werewolf Hunter, which was a creation of John Glazer, who's a comedian that you might know from, he was a head writer, I think, on Conan O'Brien's show for a while. He appeared there, like his characters and stuff like that, the same like Chris Elliott did on Letterman. And he's maybe most commonly known in front of the camera as being Councilman Jam on Parks and Rec. Where else do people know him from? Delocated, his hilariously bizarre series
is so good. That was one of the first things I saw him in. I mean, I think aside from Parks and Rec, and yeah, I mean, he's great. You know, I've enjoyed most everything that he's done. He's such a great comedian, and yeah, I was happy that you suggested this because I'm a fan of his, and I'm a fan of the company that made this, PFFR, who, you know, did Wonder Shows and the Heart She Holler, and just their stuff is the highest level of weird. It always is.
Yes.
And so you know that you're just going to get something that is absolutely bonkers when you watch it. So I think they did 12-ounce Mouse too, maybe, if I'm correct.
That's a new one to me. I've never heard of that.
I don't know. That might be also a very, very bizarre early like Adult Swim thing. But yeah,
okay.
love that
stuff. If you don't know, Adult Swim is Comedy Central's late night programming brand. So I think it is it? No, it's
it was a Cartoon Network.
Cartoon Network. Thank you.
Yeah,
sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's where you get Tim and Eric, Tom Goes the Mayor, some of those live action things on the Cartoon Network late at night when people were stoned and they wanted to provide things that would abuse stoned people. So if that's your kind of humor, you know, I know people who get visibly upset and apoplectic when you mention Tim and Eric and say that's not comedy. It's not funny. I think it's the funniest goddamn thing in the world. We raised our daughter on weird ass comedy like that. So spaghetti and all those things are just household references that we've made since my daughter was like 7.
I know those. I know
she's seen a lot of fucked up shit.
You're a good dad. You're a really good dad, Matt. I've never heard anyone come out, at least in personal conversations with people. I've never heard anyone come out against Tim and Eric, but
it's usually like Reddit people, like online commentary. Just, you know, they just
they changed comedy forever. It's one of the most important things to happen in modern comedy.
I agree, and I saw some YouTube video that was basically like a Zoomer comedy explained, and it's just kind of like, are you a parent of a kid who's a teenager? Are you completely confused by their, you know, bizarre non sequitur sense of humor? Here's like the history of how we got here. And I haven't watched it yet because I know how my daughter got there.
Yeah.
But yeah. I'm sure Tim and Eric have to come up. Like I know that in the same way that randomly Pavement's Harness Your Hopes became a hit for kids because of an algorithmic fluke.
Total fluke.
That kind of the same thing made Tim Heidecker famous because of the free real estate meme was a huge thing kids liked. And I've seen kids, you know that one, right?
Of course.
Free real estate. And that one kids know and use to death to where it's too old now, I think. And what was the other one? I've seen kids talk online. I've seen screenshots of kids talking online about basically thinking that the Steve Hanahan's
Child Clown Outlet,
that you know, with the tracking VHS thing, like how to take care of your child clown, like they talk about that like nightmare fuel. Like I saw this horrible, like they think it was real, and so God. They just remember, like, I don't know if this was a nightmare or if I saw this, but I saw this thing, and they'll describe this Tim and Eric thing, and I was like, oh sweetie, honey, no, that was just a really weird comedy thing.
No, it's just a comedy thing.
So we both like weird comedy. We're comedy geeks, I would say.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm not as big a comedy geek as like our friend Joe, who's listens to comedians on podcasts 8 hours a day while he works. But I like weird comedy.
Yeah, I do too. So yeah, I was really happy when you suggested this.
Yes. So I love him. I first saw Delocated. I saw Parks and Rec, and then I saw Delocated when it was, I don't know, I was at my parents' for like a weekend, and there was cable and on demand, and I streamed the first few episodes. Like, this is brilliant. If you don't know, the premise of Delocated is it's a satire of reality shows, and the central premise joke is that a family is in hiding from the mob in witness relocation program, and but they're also on a reality TV show because of it. So they have to wear ski masks, and they have voice changing modules put into their throats to protect their identities, but they're on television every day. So they're being stalked by the Russian mafia who's trying to kill them, but also on TV, and their lives are falling apart. And the dad is a self-centered asshole who John Glazer is a great candidate for playing a self-centered, self-absorbed moron.
He's really good at it.
He is. And I didn't, because his voice has shifted down and he's wearing a ski mask. The first like 2 or 3 episodes I watched on demand, I was like, is that Will Ferrell?
Yeah.
This feels like a Will Ferrell project that he would do secretly. And then I looked it up and it's like, okay, oh, it's that guy. I love that guy. So that's a big preamble to Neon Joe, Werewolf Hunter.
Hey, you want to hack in? Y'all know me.
No, we don't.
But y'all know how I earn a living.
No, we don't.
All right, I was under the assumption y'all would have been brief about who I am. My name is Neon Joe, Werewolf Hunter.
So this is, I think, 2015. It had 2 brief seasons. They aired back to back. So on Adult Swim, I think it was like a week or something, like every night for like a week.
That's cool.
And I think they're like full length episodes. Like they had commercial breaks and everything. It's not like Tim and Eric 10 minutes or 11 minutes.
No, they're like 22-minute episodes.
Yeah, so I'm assuming ads were inserted to make that 30 minutes at some point. But it's got Scott Adsit from Mr. Show and
30 Rock.
30 Rock, I think he's probably most famous for. Anybody else? Like, there's just a ton of people in it. There's this one guy that's like, I only know from Hal Hartley films. He plays like the doctor.
Oh yeah,
He's always like, he always plays like a very weird, off-putting asshole.
Yeah, no, he's great. And also Steve Little's in it from Eastbound and Down.
That's right.
That was awesome.
Cleve. He's
Cleve, yes.
Okay. So
God, I love that guy.
The premise here, so I was trying to tell this to Jacob before we started, but I'm 95% certain this is what I saw when I discovered the show, is that, like I said, he wrote for Conan, so he's like a frequent guest on there to support other stuff. And he was on there wearing like a yellow neon like sweatsuit with a neon hoodie, and Conan was giving him shit like, what is this? And he just started riffing and said, "Oh, it's my new character I'm doing." And from what I gather, he was making this up, saying, "I'm Neon Joe. I'm a werewolf hunter, and I'm from the Bayou." And then he started saying, "Oh, we're hunting werewolves up on here." Yeah. And like he just started riffing, and Conan's like, "What the fuck are you talking about?" And then he was so amused by this little thing, John, that he wrote this character out. And so you have 2 seasons of probably 10 to 12 episodes of this guy going to this small Vermont town because there's a werewolf attack, much like that film we watched, Werewolves Within.
Yeah, I thought so too. I was just like, oh, a lot of this is kind of very Werewolves Within. / what
was the other one we liked? We watched recently that was
it's with that one guy, the indie
Wolf of
filmmaker.
Snow Hollow.
Yeah, it was a lot like Wolf of Snow Hollow, honestly. Like a little bit more than Werewolves Within, I thought.
But this is like on nitrous.
Yes. It's so bizarre.
So I imagine John Glazer's a love him or hate him guy. I don't think he's like I don't think many people have a very neutral reaction to him.
No, I would assume not.
So describe who Neon Joe is, what he looks like. First of all, describe the opening sequence, because I was so happy with the opening.
The opening sequence is Paul Rudd playing himself, going to a B&B, and just kind of narrating himself going here and getting attacked and murdered by a werewolf. But yeah, his whole performance,
talking to his agent, like exposition machine.
It was so good. It's funny, I was like, oh, he's good at talking on the phone. I was like, that's sometimes hard. for an actor, but he's really good at it. I don't know. No, he was so funny. And yeah, he's in it for the first, I don't know, like 3 minutes. And that's the crux of the story. It starts with the murder of the actor Paul Rudd.
I love that it's revealed that he was not a character.
No,
that was Paul Rudd, the actor, that dies.
Yeah, it goes to like a town hall meeting about the werewolf attacks. And they were just, I think someone was trying to capitalize on the fact that, like go to the B&B where Paul Rudd was murdered. Like I'd go there.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that was the town's mayor, who is a woman. She's on like one of those CSI shows, I think, or a Law and Order. I can't remember.
I recognized her, but
Yeah, she's very famous in those, I think. I looked her up. I can't remember exactly what the big show she was on, but she's very funny playing the mayor. And it's just a bunch of townsfolk that are truly bizarre.
yeah, there's again Wolf of Snow Hollow / Werewolves Within. Like there's this element of like this quaint Vermont town, much like in Jaws, that relies on tourist income. People come in and buy their knickknacks and stay at their bed and breakfasts. And so there's a town hall saying, what do we do here? There's a werewolf tore Paul Rudd to shreds. And much like in any kind of samurai or Western or whatever, in walks into the town meeting, the solution, and he is Neon Joe. And he has, like I said, he's a sleeveless yellow Dayglow hoodie covered in tats. He has an eye patch and yellow pants. He has a tattoo on one bicep that says Werewolf Schmerwolves, Joe, book 3, like chapter 16 or something.
I think he has NJWH.
He has his initials
on his neck,
tattooed on his neck. Inside of his forearms, he has tattoos of. You find out later if you stick with it. You'll find out who those people are. There's heads strung up like in a garland of like different portraits of people. You find out who they are later. You have to kind of stick with it, but
his greatest thing is his Cajun accent.
Yes, which he proudly said, part. I did literally zero research to figure out how Cajuns talk. And I did that intentionally.
That's so funny.
So
he
says here as Hyump. And if you have the subtitles turned on, it says HE-YUMP. Hyump. What's going on up in Hyump? Hyump.
It's so good.
So it's kind of like it's you can't say it's a one-note joke because it's so weird. It keeps giving, but it is essentially the trope of hiring an expert to come in and take down the problem.
Yeah.
But there's layered problems because not everyone in this town is who they seem. And like Jacob was saying, everyone is exceedingly bizarre, even if they're not weird. And it's just got a bunch of those kind of Adult Swim jokes. Like there's, again, this is a tiny Vermont town. Like it looks like it's got a population of like 5,000, 10,000. There's a New York style pizzeria slices place called Slice about it. And the guy that works there, Bobby Brooklyn or something like that, like he just inserts about it into anything he said. Like it's just like if you think that's funny in a weird abstract stoner way, you're gonna think it's funny. If you don't, you're gonna probably hate this.
Yeah, I think you agree. I mean, not just John Glazer himself, but I think this show specifically, you're either gonna love it or hate it. I mean, I loved it. I mean, I thought it was great. I didn't know if I would go ahead and watch the rest of it. I didn't think it was
recommend it.
I will. I need to stick with it. I didn't think it was the greatest Adult Swim thing I've ever seen, but there's a lot of good Adult Swim stuff. So it would be hard to make it in the top 10 of that. But his performance and just the weirdness of the episodes as they go on, I think are worth checking out.
How many have you seen?
I just watched the first 3. Oh,
okay. So yeah, I think Scott Adsit, Steve Little, and John Glazer are definitely the standouts in this for me.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So the narrative, again, it's 2 seasons of like 10 to 12 episodes. So it's a very little investment. If you have Roku or Apple TV or whatever, you can download the Adult Swim thing and watch this all free with ads. So this costs you nothing.
You can almost watch all the second season. They don't put all of it on there. No, it's not. It's not all on there for free.
Son of a bitch.
The first season is, and then the second season, I think there's just 2 episodes of it on there. So yeah, okay. I did notice that when I kind of looked ahead, but
okay.
Yeah, I think that I don't know. Do you want to talk about the second episode?
Before we do, I just want to throw out a couple more examples. Like, Joe comes in, he demands, I think for $25,000, I'll catch this werewolf. For $75,000, I'll catch it and kill it.
Kill it, yeah.
And the mayor, that woman that Jacob was talking about, finds out that the sheriff is the one that called Joe in. And she's kind of pissed off because she's like, what are we paying you for? But Joe's an expert. And we find out that typical to this type of trope, Joe has a lot of pain in his past. We don't get his full story yet. What his secret history is, he even makes jokes, it's all very self-referential. Like, you don't get to hear my backstory yet. You haven't earned that. So one of the first things he does after the werewolf attack is demand that everyone give him some pubic hair because he has werewolf pubes from one of the murder scenes.
Yep.
Like, it's that kind of show where it's just people will reach in their pants and yank out a disgustingly disturbing large tuft of fake pubic hair and give it to him to put into a plastic evidence bag.
Yep.
Yeah. So that's the premise, is that Joe is hunting these things down. The town has realized they need an expert, much like Jaws, that this is the future of the town relies on working with Neon Joe to kill this werewolf and move on. Is it saying too much to talk about the other layer of weirdness?
Maybe.
Okay.
I'm not sure. I do just want to mention that I especially liked the concept of the second episode, which was basically just misery. But I loved that we find out that Neon Joe has authored 68 erotic novels. I forget what's his pen name? I can't remember.
The first name was Thrombo.
Yeah.
Like thrombosis of the wiener. It's like Peter Thrombo or something.
But I love that his erotic character is called Tip Shades. There's all these great book titles, but my favorite one was The Shades Man Always Tips Twice.
So this is, if you haven't seen Misery, Misery is about a romance writer, and these are about just full-on erotica fucking books. And his character, Tip Shades, just goes through these trash books and fucks women in great detail, but he always has sunglasses on. And there's these cutaway scenes where they have an actor playing Tip. So when they're talking about a scene from a book, you see it, and he just like tips his glasses down and like gives a woman a look, and that means they're going to get it on. So yeah, the whole second episode is a joke. It moves the plot forward, but it's a misery joke because they're trying to do a thing, and Joe is supposed to be there to help, but he can't because he has been attacked by the B&B operator, because she realizes that he's also Paul Thrombo, or whatever his name is, Thrombo, and she wants him to write his 69th Tip Shades book, the end of the series.
Yeah, that one. I really liked that episode. So I don't know. I think that if at all what we're describing sounds funny, I think you would really dig this show.
Up in here.
Yeah, up in here.
Yeah, I love it. Oh, also I don't know who the guy is, but I think the main Russian that is not the comedian from Delocated. What's the guy that does Gene's voice on Gene Belcher?
Oh, fuck. Why do I?
He's like the Russian in Delocated, but the guy that's actually like the hitman is the sheriff. He's like this bald, super ripped, huge guy. I don't know who he is, but he's actually pretty funny in this, because he was actually kind of scary in Delocated. Like, he was just a Russian assassin, and this one he's the town sheriff, and he's kind of funny. Like, he used to be a straight man. Eugene Merman, thank you.
Yes. Whew. All right, I was going to be really disappointed in myself as a huge Bob's Burgers fan.
Eugene, I love a parade, Merman. Yeah,
that's right.
Okay, so that is Neon Joe Werewolf Hunter. Apparently you can watch most of it on Adult Swim. I'm sorry that's not the whole series.
Yeah.
But yeah, I watched it all. I think it's worth it. Obviously it's not a one-note joke. It's just weird.
It's a
very
really
weird joke with a bunch of different stuff like that. Like the second episode was just about Misery, the book, a riff on Misery, but with pornographic erotica instead of romance.
Yeah, I think the weirder parts of Neon Joe remind me a lot of The Heart She Holler. Did you watch that?
I watched the first few episodes again, like when I was staying with my parents, and I was like, "Oh my god, I have access to cable," and I was like into it, but then I came home and couldn't watch it.
It's probably one of the most bizarre things I think to ever air on Adult Swim, if not the most bizarre.
Okay.
Yeah. So, yeah, very very similar to that.
So for me, I recommend it, but I'm a comedy geek who likes a little bit out there stuff, as I know Jacob does. So I recommend it, but go in saying, if you think Just Shoot Me was the best show ever, or King of Queens is like your height of comedy, then you're probably going to be like, what the fuck are you guys watching? No offense, you know.
Like you mean to offend a little bit. I know you.
I like Jerry Stiller.
Yeah.
He was good on that.
All right. What do you got to recommend for us this week, Matt?
All right. So I have this book that this is kind of funny because I had picked this out. I'm trying to grab stuff off of my Regina pile to talk about on the show. Have we talked about Regina pile yet? The term? Okay. So I think it's one of those things that I use and people that I know use, but it's not widely known outside people. So in the 11 o'clock comics podcast, way back, like in 2010, somebody from Regina, Saskatchewan, I think is which province it's in, called in and was just like saying, like, you know, in their Canadian jibber jabber, like, hey guys, love the show, blah, blah, but you got to stop recommending all these good books. Like my to read pile is getting so big, like I can't, you know, it's overwhelming, this, that, and the other, blah, blah. And so people just started calling their to read pile the Regina pile and in the forums. And so it kind of became a thing. So like me and people that I know that aren't you, like people that I know through the 11 o'clock comics, like all of our guests and people that follow us and stuff, like Rob Haferman and so on, we call our to read pile the Regina pile. So
okay, I
forget sometimes that people don't know what the term is. So
yeah.
The point was, I want to get through a bunch of stuff that I've bought over the last 10 years and have not read. But this is actually not one of them. This is something that I bought and read immediately and was obsessed with. So I want to balance it with like me reading stuff that I've owned for a long time without looking at, and me like just getting stuff out there. And I thought that Haunter by Sam Alden, published by Study Group Comics, which is the imprint that Floating World Comics here in Portland uses, I thought that this was some little secret gem. I thought, because it says, you know, oh, he lives in Portland, and this is his... Sam Alden was born in 1988 and grew up in Portland, Oregon. His comics are online at gingerlandcomics.com. So I was like, okay, so I'm going to bring some mana to the people. So I wrote this in our notes for like what to talk about. And then I went and searched his name, and it's like, oh, so he's been working on Adventure Time for like 8 seasons. He's an animator. He does writing. Like he's worked on tons of shows. He's published like 7 other things.
So not obscure is what you're saying.
He's not obscure. And I did not. Yeah. If I had done this when this came out in 2015, I would have been maybe something special. But I think he was already working on Adventure Time by then.
Okay.
So this has a pull quotes from Jeff Smith and some other people. So this is going to be a quick one because it is a wordless comic largely. It is in the format of, it's like watercolors, scanned watercolors. So if you go to his website, you can see this entire thing. So these images I'm showing you right now are available on his website, samalden.info. I think he's updated that from Gingerland Comics. But this comic itself is this very... I got into this in the early 2010s. I got into this kind of like stoner D&D aesthetic of like psychedelic sword and sorcery. I think my friend Jason Farrell called it like lo-fi D&D or something like that. But it's like, you know, anything where it's like you took a couple of bong rips and you drew a cool character for your D&D campaign on a peachy, and then you decided to expand that into an entire comic. I just was really into it, but this stuff is more kind of delicate and
it's beautiful use of color. The temperature color theory in here is great, and I can't talk a ton about the story because it's super brief. It's like 100 maybe 80 to 120 pages, virtually wordless, except like when the character swears, there's a word balloon that just has a red X in it. So like there is nothing really to, I don't know. So the plot, though, is, without spoiling it, is about a person that is, I like that it's kind of gender neutral. You can't tell what's a boy or a girl. I think it's a female. And she's out hunting. She has a bow, and she's in the woods, and she finds this Glen and this strange... I'm obsessed with ruins and mythology and ancient cultures.
So she finds this like strange stone entrance, much like you would find like a Zelda thing or something like that, like this
Okay.
thing out, it's like above a pond or whatever, and climbs into this stone tunnel that's clearly ancient and clearly made by someone much more advanced than the current culture. And she encounters something in there and it becomes pursued. And this whole story is essentially the pursuit of her by this. We don't know if it's a guardian. Again, there's no explanation, which is the thing that I love, right? You and I love Lynch, love just like not everything's explained. But it's gorgeous art showing that. And so the stuff that appeals to me is like the soft watercolors, the gorgeous rendering of these little nature scenes in this forest. The antagonist is horrifying in its own weird way because it fits into that aesthetic and that milieu. Like it's also aesthetically interesting and pleasing, but scary and inside of that vernacular. And ultimately, to me, it feels like this is that ancient human, like Jungian idea of like the human and the divine or the ancient or whatever shouldn't like never cross paths. Like, right. Like that idea of like Actaeon seeing Artemis bathe after the hunt in the woods. And since he spied a divine act, a goddess doing a thing, and he's a mortal, he was punished. And so she turned him into a hart, a deer, and had him, and he was torn to shreds by wolves for the transgression of seeing a divine moment. That kind of thing is really appealing to me in a repulsive but attractive way. So this has that kind of element to it where it's like someone went somewhere where they shouldn't have gone, and they're completely innocent ultimately, but consequences are dire. And that's all I can say about it without spoiling anything. But the art's freaking gorgeous, beautiful watercolors, soft washes of color with ink on top of them. I've been showing it through this whole thing, so it's no shock. Can't recommend this enough. You can see the whole thing for free on studygroupcomics.com. If you search for Sam Alden's Haunter, the whole thing is scanned on there, but I recommend you buy it.
That sounds awesome. I'm totally
stuff.
into reading it.
And there's apparently that same year, there was something else published by him called like Chicken Foot House or something like that. Like it sounds like some kind of weird Baba Yaga thing.
Yeah.
So I was just shocked, like, oh, this person that I love made a bunch more work and I haven't got any of it. So I have more to do. Yeah, it's a Haunter is in 2 parts on studygroupcomics.com if you want to go check it out.
Nice. Yes.
And so you bought me a record. We were here for Renee's birthday that I threw at that restaurant, and you were, even though it's not my birthday, you brought me a present. You brought me a record, and it was a person I don't know. And I came home and you shared files with me digitally, but I put it on my turntable and turned it up real nice and loud. Got the analog sound, which people, if you're out there listening and you don't think there's a difference between analog and digital sound, you're high as fuck. Come over to my house. I will play pet sounds for you in mono, and you will be reborn. So talk to me about this album, because I did not know this artist, this album. I knew nothing.
Yeah, well, it's because it's shockingly obscure, even though it should not be. But I'm going to talk about Mickey Newbury. And this is his second solo record, but it's basically the first. He made his first record was much more studio typical, like country singer-songwriter affair. I think that was from 1967.
So I read about his first one a little bit. And it sounds like with Nico's first solo album, where like she cried when she heard it. Like,
yes,
she's like, oh my God, they put flutes on everything. Like,
yep.
He sounds like this is not representative at all of what he does, to where he wrote it off creatively.
Yeah, he totally wrote it off and re-recorded some of the songs. So basically, I had only heard about Mickey Newbury as this tangential figure that all the like greatest songwriters ever think is the greatest songwriter.
Well, morning's come, and Lord, my mind is aching. The sunshine standing quietly at my door. Just like the dawn, my heart is silently breaking. And with my tears it goes tumbling to the floor. Once again, the old town will be talking. Yes, Lord, I've seen the pity that's in their eyes, 'cause they could never understand. It's our sorrow.
So I heard of Mickey Newbury first. I was in a band here in Portland called Hungry Holler. We played a lot of 70s country songs. One song that we sang was Lukenbach, Texas by Waylon Jennings. And Mickey Newbury is name checked in that song because the lyric is Hank Williams' Pain songs, Newbury's Train songs. And so...
Not Rain songs?
I know, right? No. Yeah. But so that was really, I just knew that he was super well respected. And so I was at Goodwill with my wife. Yes.
So you're saying he's like a songwriter?
He is the songwriter. I mean, like the more once I found this record and started listening to it and looked him up, and there's a biography of his I really want to read, but he's the guy behind like all these amazing songwriters. Like he was hugely influential figure in like folk, outlaw country, singer-songwriter. So he was best friends with Willie Nelson and Roger Miller. He convinced Townes Van Zandt to record his first record. He's Chris Christopherson and John Prine's favorite songwriter. His songs have been covered.
Me at all.
No, and the more that it's like reverse engineering this stuff. When I listen to this record, I'm like, oh my God, Townes Van Zandt just totally copied this guy for his first record. So did Chris Christopherson. Like all these guys.
Couldn't help but think the same thoughts.
So early in '68, Newbury records this record, Looks Like Rain. He was pissed off at the Nashville system, which he had a lot of success in. Like his earliest claim to fame, he had 4 top 5 songs, I think in like the same month or the same couple months in 1968. He wrote his most famous song probably is he wrote Just Dropped In to See What Condition My Condition Was In for Kenny Rogers and the first edition. So he had a number 1 with that. A number 1 was Sweet Memories by Andy Williams, Time is a Thief by Solomon Burke. So he had number 1s on every different chart, like the R&B chart, the easy listening chart, the country chart, the pop rock chart. And it's never been repeated. Like no one's ever done that since.
I'm sure Kanye's done it. He's done everything. Yeah. Kanye's a genius. He's better than the Beatles and Bach.
Yes, you're right. Put together. Yeah, so so he was very successful as a songwriter, and I think that's what led to the freedom of him being like, I don't want to go to Studio B. I don't want fucking Chet Atkins to, pour sugar all over these songs.
Yeah, I love Chet Atkins, but
I do too. But Chet Atkins as a guitar player is great. Chet Atkins as a country producer, the Nashville sound is strings and the fucking Jordanaires, and it's gross to me. I get it, and I some of that stuff is cool, but it's not my favorite period of old country, and I love all old country. But this record was a direct rebellion against that. He went to a converted garage. The production is so sparse on this record. It's like it's 7 songs, but I swear to God, they're all in the same key.
Yeah, but the sparseness, the negative space becomes an element in it. Like it's so beautifully arranged and recorded. Like the lack of instruments becomes an instrument at times.
Yeah, and it's produced by Jerry Kennedy, who produced another one of my favorite songwriters, Tom T. Hall. Very different production on Tom T. Hall.
Wow.
But Jerry Kennedy was part of the Nashville session A players, He was part of the fucking Nashville wrecking crew, and he played on probably 1,000 popular songs. But yeah, Mickey Newbury, like this record is a very slow record. Like it's basically all ballads. These ballads are there's like rain sounds, like train whistles, like wind chimes that are in between each song, and kind of every song flows into the next song.
It's an album of Caroline Knows.
Yeah, but it's
the
just
country
it
vernacular. Or
yeah, and
vernacular.
they're all very, I mean, they're very plaintive. They're not sad. They're just it's very plaintive. It's not going to be for everybody.
Bittersweet, melancholic, elegiac, but also celebratory. You know what I mean? Like that same. I love that thing where it's like,
oh man,
best of times, worst of times in one sentence kind of thing.
Lord, today there's no salvation. The band's packed up and gone. Left me standing with my penny in my hand. There's a big crowd at the station where the blind man sings his songs, but he can see what they can't understand. And it's the 33rd of August, and I'm finally touching down. 8 days from Sunday finds me Saturday.
Yeah, I've been obsessed with this record for, I don't know, 6-7 months. I've listened to it so many times, and I just think that the production on it, the sparseness, aside from all the negative space that you're talking about, there's weird stuff for like a Nashville singer-songwriter. There's sitar, there's
I know, the first track there's sitar.
Yeah, there's sitar all through it. So the thing that I love the most that I looked up, so there's like a small choir of women that will show up in some of these songs, maybe like 3 voices. What he did, he recorded these like 3 women singing. Jerry Kennedy took that track and threw it through a Leslie rotating speaker, and so that's why
Leslie animation.
Yeah, and so it's this weird angelic chorus thing that keeps showing up on different songs, and oh my god, I fucking love this record.
You can't always get what you want. The kind of angelic kind of like.
Yeah, but it's
Leslie.
weird and spooky because it's way Leslie out.
Yeah.
Like it's just like even more than that. My favorite song is probably the 33rd of August. I think lyrically it's one of the best. I think the most famous off this record is probably San Francisco Maple Joy, which has been covered by lots of people. Like all of his songs have been covered by a lot of people.
I knew that title even before I heard the record.
Yeah, but honestly, he's still really unknown. Like he has never gotten his due. Like the country, outlaw country, basically took his model of like, oh, just work outside the system and write these weird songs and do what you want to do. And outlaw country took his business plan and just made history with it. And he was forgotten. Like he just he put out records. This record hardly sold anything. And I honestly think the most famous thing is a song that he didn't write. He arranged this thing that he called the American Trilogy. Oh. And it's like Dixieland into the Black Spiritual, All My Trials, into like, you know, our truth is marching on, you know. So it's this kind of, it was taking these like kind of racist Southern tropes and combining them with a Black Spiritual. It was this weird protest kind of thing in his mind.
Kid Rock does a beautiful version of it on his latest album.
But you know who made it the most famous was Elvis. Yeah. Elvis would sing it at the end. It was like the highlight of his 70s show, of you know, like Vegas show and stuff. Mm-hmm. And he would sing it. He would just sing it with such emotion. I was always like, does he understand totally? Like,
yeah, that's like when Trump plays Fortunate Son at his rallies, and it's like, you don't know what lyrics mean, do you?
Yeah, no, and of course, I mean, I'm sure Elvis did know this, you know, like, but it's still weird that he used it kind of to close up, but that's what most people know it from. Mm-hmm. And so that's probably his most famous song, even though he didn't write that. I mean, he just kind of threw these 3 songs together in this kind of weird protest thing, but obviously didn't get any royalties for that. So he just kind of had a very simple existence. Yeah, I recently found out that he's buried in a country cemetery outside of Eugene, Oregon.
Yeah, he died in Springfield.
Yeah, he died in Springfield, and he's buried just right outside, kind of, I keep almost passing it on my way back from Portland to Klamath Falls, where I'm living now. I'm actually going to go and make a pilgrimage I'm coming up, you know, next week, and I'll be staying with you. And on my way back down, I want to go and at least like drop some flowers and take a picture. And
which cemetery is that?
It's in the middle of nowhere. Like it's literally just on a country road. I don't even think there's a town near there. Like on the Find a Grave, like I have the GPS coordinates for it. And so, I mean, there's a small town near it, but it's kind of like,
it's not like the Dallas. It's by Eugene. It's not by like Corral. It's not Dallas or
no, but it's going east though. It's like right after Eugene, you take the cutoff east to 58, and that's how you get to Klamath Falls.
Not my people, not my kinfolk.
No, so you're gonna you go. I think right at Springfield, you go east, and it is literally in the middle of nowhere. And so I need to go and pay my respects. So I was excited to find that out. But, you know, this album isn't going to be for everybody. It is the epitome of a rainy day record. Like there's literal rain sounds on it. The more I listened to it, the more it just kind of dug into my soul. And now it's just one of my favorite records ever. No, I know it's a weird recommendation. It's a weird one.
It's not, because, and I'm completely with you. Like the first, you mentioned it to me, and I left the record at the birthday party at the restaurant, and I forgot it. And I looked it up online and just played it, and I was like, okay, so it's Gordon Lightfoot. I get it. And then I listened to it again, and I was like, okay, I'm starting to hear where Jacob's, you know, got its hook in him. And then I retrieved the vinyl from the restaurant today and played on the turntable while I was making my Romita alteration. TM ding. And like, oh, holy shit, this is fucking brilliant. So like 3 listens in, I'm like, I get it now.
Yeah, and totally I think that listening to a really clean copy on vinyl on a decent system, and it's a life-changing thing. It's one of those where you're like, oh, no, I get it. Like, I totally get it.
That was a Mario mushroom where it's like,
yeah. But you listen to it and you're like, oh, of course he influenced everyone.
Yeah, yes, to where it was actually kind of taking me back, where it's like, okay, why is this special? Right? You're saying, like, we're dancing around it, like people ripped him off. So he kind of created a movement of late 60s, early 70s of that singer-songwriter crossover pop country sound of legitimate songwriters. So he was a secret sauce that everybody was digging, that nobody was buying these records.
Nope.
Critics liked him. There was no sales. And so people adopted his sound. It became part of the cultural sound. And then so when you go back and hear it, it's like some obscure record by some guy who just kind of sounds like everybody around that time. Like, no, he was years before that time, and he made the sound.
Yeah, he totally
I could
made
tell
the
that
sound.
Just from 3 listens. Like, what's the big deal? This sounds like Gordon Lightfoot. To, okay, this is actually really well written. I'm getting why Jacob likes it. And then heard on vinyl, I was like, oh, this is a low-key masterpiece.
It's an absolute masterpiece.
Yeah, no, I get it.
And you can find, so the copy that I have, I actually found this one at a Goodwill, and it's a promo mono copy. Oh no, this is a stereo copy. Yeah, this is a stereo copy. These aren't cheap because they didn't sell very well, but you can get a reissue that was done, I think, in '73. It's a double. It has a live show from him, from Live at Montezuma Hall, which is also awesome.
That's
I don't know
what
if you've
have.
listened
That's
to
what
that
you
yet.
gave me.
No, I know, but have you listened to the live record yet?
No.
No. Okay. The live record is
Come on, man.
great. And so, yeah, it's a double. It has Looks Like Rain, and then it has this amazing live set he's super charming and just a great performer. And
Yeah.
that one it's pretty easy to find. Like if you can't, find it in the wild, you can easily get it on Discogs, and, you can get a mint copy of it
For like $8.
for probably under $10.
Yeah.
And because
It's one
people
of those
still don't
gems.
fucking get it. They still don't understand about this guy. And it's astounding to me.
You know what we need?
What?
We need Paul Rudd to play him in a film. And then,
And then get eaten by a werewolf?
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, no, I'm just saying, like, get people into it.
Yeah.
Same thing with like Moon Knight and the Whatnots, right? Like,
That's right.
get people caring.
That's right. No, you're absolutely right. No,
That was a great choice, by the way. And
thank you. I'm glad you got it. I was prepared because I've recommended it to a few people, and like half the people are like, "Oh, you're right. This is amazing." The other half were like, "Yeah, this is good."
no, this is something that has to get through. I have a protective layer against this sound.
Of feeling.
No, of studio, like you're saying, the outside of the Nashville studio. I don't know. I have a negative reaction to singer-songwriter stuff for the early 70s. Like we were saying,
I get it.
Gordon Lightfoot and whatever. Like I hear that and I kind of shut down. Like this is a techie cultural thing that was part of the evolution of music, but I don't necessarily want to hear it always. And
Well,
then
I don't know if
further
I-
listens,
Okay.
I'm like, okay, I don't hear that at all. Now
Yeah.
I'm like, that was just me being prejudiced in the literal sense, prejudging something just based on some sonics. Second listen, I was like, okay, I'm hearing what Jacob digs. Like I was saying, you're making me repeat myself. I shouldn't have to repeat myself.
You shouldn't. I get it.
Third
No, I get
listen
it.
on vinyl, I was like, okay, I get it. So fuck you, man. God damn it. How long are we doing this?
Are you done already?
Ugh.
Uh,
I'm trying to pay you a compliment. It's like my fucking wife.
yeah, we don't like to take compliments, Matt.
No,
Or maybe you're just not good at giving compliments. There might be
I'm
that
fucking
too.
great.
Okay, you're right. No, you're amazing at it. Of course.
Yeah, no, it's great. I can't wait to dig in after I give it a bath.
Yeah, I was so I was pretty happy to go to Renee's birthday party. That was pretty great. So for everyone, Matt performed about 6 songs, I think.
So, I'm sorry.
Oh, Callie.
By the way, I don't know what's going to happen when you're here because you might need to come into the house, like, through the garage code or like through the hide key. Not that Callie's, I mean, not that Callie's a barrier because I hope that I'm thinking I'm a barrier. Like,
Okay.
because I think every time she sees you, she's thinking like, this is going to end with me smoking a cigarette with him in bed.
Yeah.
And that ain't happening
No, I know.
because
I
your
know.
asthma.
Yeah. No, Callie's very fond of me. But no, I've done okay breathing wise, hanging out with her for a little bit. Probably can't sleep in the same bed with me, which I know she wants to.
She's going to be super bummed.
Yeah, I know she is. but I will hang out with her a lot, and I do
Okay.
love Callie.
But after you make love to her, you will let her sleep. Okay, never mind. This is
We'll figure out all the details
Okay.
when I'm there. But I was very excited to actually see you performing again, which you did for so many years with your band, the Ex-Hustlers. We played in a band together. I loved performing live with you, and you still got it, man.
yeah. Thank you.
Played 3 of the 3 songs that you wrote from your old band, the Ex-Hustlers, and 3 covers of songs that meant something to your wife. And I gotta say, I mean, I know you lowered the key slightly, but you really you covered "Walk Away, Renee" by the Left Bank, which is one of my favorite songs, one of your favorite songs, and the song that your wife is named after.
Mm-hmm.
And man, you really hit those notes. I'm impressed.
Thank you.
I was very impressed.
That was hard because Joe wanted to sing harmonies with me, so he asked me to step down an octave, and I have a hard time staying. Like I'm always grabbing my balls, squeezing my ball sack, and going for the high register. So that was hard to step down.
Okay.
But yeah, it was fun. I had a great time. Yeah, Pete's like, I want to keep doing stuff, and I don't know. I don't want to write anymore.
See,
I feel like the dude in Fire Walk with Me was like, I've been places.
I've been places. I don't
Like,
need to go anywhere.
Yeah,
I want to stay right here.
Yeah, like I just Carl
from the Fat
Hot
Trout
water,
Trailer
Carl.
Park. Yeah.
Yeah, like I would love to play in a band. I could play ex-Hustler stuff. I could play covers. I could do whatever. I always had a hard time writing. No, I'm like, we're like opposites.
We are totally opposites.
We might be yin and yang.
Yeah.
I love playing music and I hate writing. I love singing though.
Well, you're great. You're great at it, and you still have your voice, which was very, very impressive. Yeah, for me, it was performing live. I fucking hate performing live. I love writing. I love recording. I'm making a record right now. I'm coming into town to work on it. You're going to be playing on it. I'm very, very excited just to have some old songs and some new songs, and yeah, it's what I love. I love writing.
Well, you can be Brian. I can be Mike Love. You can draw Nazi mustaches on me and dicks pointing towards my face.
You're not going to make yourself Carl? Why would you not make yourself Carl?
Carl wrote stuff.
Yeah, but Carl wrote stuff. You write stuff too, but you're also the pretty boy that can sing the high notes.
Pretty boy.
You're Carl. You're not fucking Mike Love.
I'm Mike Love.
You're not Mike Love.
I just be down on myself tonight. I don't know.
You are down on yourself.
Fucking Kokomo.
No one's Mike Love. It's the worst insult you can ever give to anyone.
Okay, so you mentioned you're going to be in town, staying at the Howell, Casa de Howell.
That's right. I'm very excited.
So I think that our bonus episode for next week is we're going to go see like a late morning, midday Morbius.
Yep.
And do like thoughts before we go in, and then thoughts when we maybe, a little bit of our own version of the 20 in the theater. And then our thoughts immediately following. It's interesting because I feel like it's 80% Red Lantern blood vomiting, and then like 20% like, no, it's massively flawed, but it's fun. So I kind of want to see where I rank in on that.
Yeah, wow. It is one of those things, but a couple of the people that we respect and are friends with online, our friends with the show, have said just what you said. You're just like, yeah, it's not fucking great, but it's fun, which is basically what people said about the 2 Venom movies. So, yeah. I mean, it's kind of, I'm just assuming it's going to be like that.
Yeah. I think Mark Nevins said like, here's the surprise. I actually enjoyed it. It's flawed, but entertaining.
No, I'm not expecting it to be Moon Knight. I'm not expecting it to be, anything great. It's not going to be No Way Home. It's just like, yeah, but I think that's a really good idea. I think you and I should go to a maybe noon show.
Yeah.
We'll indulge a little bit.
Ooh, that'd be fun. Yeah, I'm gonna take the day off, so we could definitely
let's get
that a lot.
Yeah. Let's have a.
Is that fair?
Let's have a serious dosage of edibles and go in.
All right.
We'll go to Eastport with the captain's chairs that we can like flip back, and
there's still a giant bag of insanity cookies in the fridge. So
no, I'm not doing those.
Okay, you want to be measured.
Yeah, I want to be measured. This is the future. We don't have to go with like your cousin's butter that he made with some weird shake that's going to totally either do nothing or make you a psychonaut for 4 days.
Okay. All right.
No,
cool.
We'll get some Mule Shine. We'll do. Still looking for that sponsor from Mule. I think
we need sponsors.
We use enough of their products in association with the show that come on, Mule, show us a little love.
Although I was mentioning to you today that this was the first time I redirected all of our show costs, like Libsyn support, hosting, and the Zoom account. I pointed them at our Patreon fund on PayPal, and so we are officially a self-sustaining show now, which
Ooh,
felt
that is-
really good.
That's some grown up shit right there.
So it felt very
We're
grown
real.
up, and I appreciate everybody for supporting us. Thank you guys. That's huge.
It is huge. It's so nice, and the people on our patrons are so great. It's been a really fun community. Everyone is really supportive and interacts with us a lot, and we love it.
Mm-hmm. So, speaking of that, we started that kind of like, what are you reading thread?
Yeah.
And you haven't chimed in yet. I've been like chiming in because we were sharing an account. So I was saying like MH at the end of stuff. Like, this is me. This is what I'm reading. Then you said you started your own account just so you can kind of differentiate yourself from me for some reason. Why would you? That's neither here nor there.
No, I'll go on. Yeah, but I still go on yours to look at Werewolf by Night stuff because I am not a patron of the show, so I can't access the bonus stuff. And I'll say JB.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, you're right. I need
Jables.
to do that. Jables.
Yeah.
Yeah.
DJ Balky.
That's.
I gotta finish that video, man. Cool. Okay, so we have some bonus stuff coming up. We're, like I said, doing that Morbius episode. We have some unboxing of. I think we should both unbox. You should send me an unbox of your thing, and I'll cut them
do
together.
It tomorrow. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Do that, cool. And I'll do it this weekend. And then, I gotta get your DJ video done. There's a ton of stuff to do. I'm also gonna do a brief playthrough on these TSR Marvel books that they did. That you needed one die, a 6-sided die, and a pencil. And if you had this book, it was like choose your own adventure, but you had hit points and karma and whatever. So I want to do a thing where I want to do like a playthrough and record it and like augment it with some visuals.
Well, should we do that while I'm up there too? Just do all our bonus content, like film 5 episodes of Family Feud, like in the morning.
No, that's smart. But we should actually do that episode of Vampire while you're in town, though.
Oh yeah. Okay, well let's do. I mean, I'm just going to be hanging out at your house, so we might as well make bonus content, I guess, rather than hang out.
OnlyFans. Yep. Matt loves Jacob's feet. Video volume 4.
Oh, give the people what they want.
It's Friday.
Yeah.
I've had a long week.
You did.
Thanks for being supportive, everybody. And thank you, Jacob, for allowing me to reschedule this.
No problem.
Yep. Cool. Well, I hope you guys dug this week's episode with Joe Keating. He's a super cool dude.
Yeah, that was great. I really, really loved having him on. That was a lot of fun. I knew he would be good, and I knew he would be a perfect fit for this issue, and I was not wrong.
Yeah, you were right. You were worse than right.
I was worse than right.
Yeah. Cool. So how do we get out of here again? You say, that's about, nah. Yeah.
That's you. For me, it's my catchphrase. It's my tagline even, which is, may your fur never bristle in the moonlight.
And I say, stay furry, fungal.
Oh man, you were so close.
Stay furry, friends.
Had it. Yes, there you go.
That's better.
You got it.
All right. See you soon, folks. Thanks for supporting us.
Bye.
That's a fun show.
Doing it again.
That wasn't me. That's a bonus show.
Senor Wences, where did you come from?
Are we getting some cocaine or not?